Hello everyone, welcome to MMA at Midnight. I'm your host Shant Yeretzian, and this is our UFC on Fox Orlando post-fight special. The main event was Jeremy Stephens versus Josh Emmett. It was a crazy finish, a crazy knockout. We're going to get into that and also the other exciting fights on the card. Let's start off with the main event. Jeremy Stephens ended up finishing Josh Emmett with like a series of elbows. He caught him. People said he caught him with a knee. I think it grazed him, but I don't necessarily think it did any damage. But it did look like it grazed off like the back part of his head. But it wasn't. I don't think it was a damaging shot. But I still do believe the referee should have stepped in. We're gonna get into that in a second. He hit him with that, and then he ended up finishing off with the sick diving elbow, and then another elbow after that. It was kind of reminiscent to Dan Henderson diving like elbow on Michael Bisping when he knocked him out at UFC 100. So I just wanted to point that out. Yeah, Jeremy Stephens, and it was a sick, vicious knockout. Josh Emmett was out cold, and he ended up hitting him with another elbow after the diving elbow to finish him off. And yeah, that one was definitely uncalled for. But Jeremy Stephens is just one of those guys where you can tell he just goes like, he goes nuts, like when he gets like he sees like a guy hurt, like he just goes crazy. So he's not like, he doesn't seem like a bad dude, but he just like kind of lost control there. He just like started going crazy. It was a violent knockout. Those last two elbows, the diving elbow and then the one after, like those were violent. Like those were nasty elbows. They ended up carrying Josh Emmett out on the stretcher. I hope he's all right. There were those elbows to the back of the head on the finishing sequence. I think did more damage than the knee. I think the knee, like I said earlier, it just grazed. But those elbows earlier before that, in the part of the finishing sequence that was to the back of the head. I know Josh Emmett turned, but it's the referee's job to step in. There was two fouls and nothing was said. I know this happens a lot in MMA. If there's a foul during a finishing sequence, it all of a sudden gets canceled out. We see it all the time. Like if a guy like Travis Brown like elbows guys to the back of the head and knocks them out, it's okay because it's a knockout. Like the penalty is just ignored. This happens a lot in MMA. It's up to the referees. It's not the fighters' fault. The fighters are just doing what they do. So the referee's got to definitely, if it's a foul, he's got to take the point away. He knows the rules better than we do. If it's a foul, he needs to stop the fight, and do whatever's necessary in that situation. So earlier in the first round, Jeremy Stephens actually got rocked. Josh Emmett hit him with a sick hook. I tweeted it out. Yeah, Jeremy Stephens during the fight went for like that uppercut that he knocked out Rafael Dos Anjos with, and when he missed, Josh Emmett just hit him with a sick hook. Yeah, I tweeted that out during the fight. I always do live tweets during the fights. You can follow me at Shant Yeretzian on Twitter. That was something I noticed that happened, and Jeremy Stephens was hurt early in that fight in that first round. So he did really good coming back. Josh Emmett is tough as hell. It was a really good fight. That knockout at the end was sick. It was a nasty knockout. And like we said, there might have been penalties that could have definitely called for the fight to be like paused. Maybe a point deduction or give Josh Emmett time to recover. But like I said, MMA with finishing sequences, there's a lot of things that get overlooked, and that's not the fighter's fault. It's up to the referees. So move on from that. In the co-main event, we had Jessica Andrade versus Tecia Torres. This was a really exciting fight. Jessica Andrade ended up winning a unanimous decision. She did really good. Her strikes were good. Her takedowns were awesome. She out-wrestled Tecia Torres like it was unbelievable. And Tecia Torres is a really good wrestler. It was a really solid performance from Jessica Andrade, and it was an exciting fight as well. Just because it had a lot of takedowns doesn't mean it was boring. If you didn't see the fight, it's still exciting. You should go back and watch it because it was really impressive performance. And Tecia Torres is always game. She never gives up. So it was a good fight. The fight before that, we had Abdel Latifi versus OSP. This was an incredible finish, an incredible shocker. Abdel Latifi ended up rocking OSP with a hook. He hit him with a few more punches, backed him up against the cage, and then he caught him with a standing guillotine and choked OSP out completely cold. It was a sick guillotine. It was some sick heavy punches by Abdel Latifi. This was a good performance by him. After that, he respectfully called out Daniel Cormier. He wants a title shot, but Cormier's fighting Miocic in the summertime, so he's probably gonna have to take another fight or two. And at least now he can just continue moving up the ranks. Maybe later, towards the end of the year, he might be able to get a title shot, depending on if DC wins. He might stay at heavyweight, or if they have an interim belt or whatever it is. He definitely threw his name in the hat now for the drawing. He's up there. I hopefully, if he gets another opponent, it is someone that's higher ranked than him. So great performance by Abdel Latifi, sick finish. Then OSP's a tough opponent. He's no joke. He can knock you out. He can submit you. So really good performance by Abdel Latifi. Before that, in that other fight, the first fight of the main card, we had Mike Perry versus Max Griffin. This was everyone was expecting a nice slugfest, and there was a lot of punches thrown. Both guys ended up eating strikes, but Max Griffin put on a hell of a performance. He busted up Mike Perry. He was catching him. He was landing kicks, punches. His movement was good. He was really smart when they clinched up. It seemed like Max Griffin had a really good game plan coming into this. Mike Perry, he had heavy hands. He did land like some shots. We know he has that knockout power, but I don't know. It didn't seem like he could get his rhythm. It seemed like Max Griffin had, like I said, a great game plan. He did everything he needed to slow down Mike Perry, and he won the unanimous decision. Mike Perry needs to go back to the drawing boards. If he's just gonna slug it out and want to fight guys that are like gonna stand in the pocket with them, there's very few guys that are gonna do that. There's a lot of strikers, but guys like Max Griffin who are aware of it, they're going to move in and out, they're going to mix it up, different types of strikes. They're not just going to sit there and swing and brawl with you. So Mike Perry needs to make some adjustments, and we'll see, if he can do that. On the prelims, we had Brian Kelleher versus Renan Barao. I was really looking forward to this fight. Renan Barao, he looked good early, but it still seems like there's something missing. Like, I don't know, like he is like, maybe like his time is like kind of like slowly like, dwindling away, like his career. But Brian Kelleher did really good. He had a good game plan as well. He rocked Renan Barao. He almost knocked him out multiple times. In the third round, it was just like, I don't even know how Renan Barao was even standing, like, at the end of that fight. Like, he ate so many punches, like, as the clock was winding down. It was nasty. Like, Renan Barao, like, I feel bad, like, because he is, like, such a good fighter. His technique is good, but it just seems like something's missing. He can't put it together. He had, like, moments where he looked like the old him. He was landing the leg kicks and the combinations, moving in and out. But then, there's those other moments where he just starts eating punches and he just starts scrambling and backing up. And it's, it doesn't look good. When you see it happen, it's just like, oh no, not this again. It's just like, no, Hannah, no, don't do this again. But yeah. So good performance by Brian Kelleher. And I don't know, we'll see where Renan Barao goes from here. I do have to say Renan did look better in this fight than he did previously in some of his other fights. But I don't know, like I said, we have to see if he's going to be able to make a recovery or if this is just, his career is just ending. In the next fight, we had Sara McMann versus Marion Reneau. Marion Reneau had an amazing performance. She hit Sara McMann with some good punches, and she ended up taking it to the ground and finishing Sara McMann with a triangle choke. It looked like Sara McMann pretty much, after she got rocked, like her heart wasn't into it. She was already like, she's just like, oh no, I got hit, and she's just like, Marion Reneau like started putting the triangle on, and Sara McMann didn't even try to escape. She's just like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll just sit here until she tightens it up and and gets the choke, and then I'll tap. Like she didn't look like anyone in a hurry to get out of it. Didn't panic. Didn't look like someone who felt like they couldn't lose this fight. Who's like, gonna do whatever it takes to win. That was none of that with her. That's sad to see because she is such a good competitor, but we've seen that like she just like kind of quit. We've seen it before with her. But great performance from Marion Reneau. I don't want to take anything away from her. She did land those strikes. She did finish with the submission. So really, that's really good performance for her. We also had some sick knockouts on the prelims as well. We had Alan Jouban knocking out Ben Saunders. This was a sick knockout. He ended up landing an inside low kick, and then as it took like Ben Saunders' leg out from under him, he tried to like get his balance again, rotate, and Alan Jouban just hit him with a sick left straight and ended up knocking him out cold. And then Ben Saunders' leg was like folded up under him, kind of like how Mirko's leg was, similar to that when he got KO'd by Gabriel Gonzaga. Really good performance by Alan Jouban. It was a highlight reel knockout. I think they have it on the UFC on Fox YouTube channel. They put like their highlights up on after that. And that's another feature I like. I like how UFC on Fox, they put like the interviews, the finishes, all the stuff from the fights on Fox on their YouTube channel. Like they get them up like pretty quick, which is really good. There was also Sam Alvey knocked out Marcin Parchnio. Sam Alvey, like, yeah, he moved up to 205 for this one. He missed weight at 185. But, you know, he is a really good, well-rounded fighter. His striking, his wrestling, you know, he never made it to, like, a top level. He's not that type of guy. But as far as, like, well-rounded guys go and, like, solid fighters, like, he's definitely up there. Parchnio, he just, like, he ate, like, a bunch of punches, and he's just like, okay, I'm gonna keep coming forward with his hands down. He just, like, he just started walking towards Sam Alvey, and Sam Alvey's like, all right, you know, and just, like, knocked him out. It was pretty ridiculous. Like, I don't know how this dude, like, has that record that he has getting to the UFC without not knowing to, like, keep his hands up, especially when he's rocked and the guy's, like, you know, landing at will. Like, why would you do that? It makes no sense. And it's not only that his hands were down, he moved into range. You don't move into someone's range with your hands down like that. Like, you know, he didn't have any head movement ready or anything. He was just like head's right in the middle, just walking forward, chin straight up. Like, like, you don't walk into range like that. Like, you need to, if he doesn't understand his own range, I don't know how he's going to understand his opponent's range. Like, there's a huge flaw in that guy's game. You know, he was rocked, but even if you're rocked, you should learn to not, you know, you should be trained to think differently. You should be, you know, not have that, like, mindless mindset where you just, like, charge forward with, like, no strategy whatsoever. So that guy's got some really big holes in his game that he needs to fix. That's bad. Like I said, I don't know how he has the record that he has to get to the UFC, but good knockout by Sam Alvey. That was sick. Also, we had on the prelims, Yaya, he got a sick head and arm choke on Russell Doan. This was a really good finish. He got a really good reversal too. Russell Doan was on top at one point. He got a sick reversal on him, and then he ended up getting the head and arm choke on him, which is, everyone knows, like, if you've been watching him fight from WEC to in Japan, like, he's got 6 submissions. So great performance by Ronnie Yaya. Good submission. This fight card, it was really fun. I enjoyed watching all the fights. Like there was the knockouts, the submissions, you know, the sick battles, the wars. It was a good fight night overall. I actually love these UFC on Big Fox because they finish early. On the East Coast, it was done by like 10:30. When it's on like FS1, like sometimes it doesn't finish till like 1:30, and FS1 kills us with the commercials. It's like unbearable to watch the UFC on the fight nights on FS1 with all those commercials. At least on Big Fox, it doesn't have as many commercials, and the fights move along pretty quick. I really enjoyed it. It was early. Like, it's not like for East Coast viewers, you're gonna have to stay up all night to watch the fights. So it was really fun. I hope they do more like this. When they get the new TV deal, maybe depending on what channel. Obviously, I know Fox does it so they can be done and have like their 10 o'clock news and stuff on the East Coast. That's what they try to finish the fights in time for. That would be nice. Whatever their TV deal is or whatever the streaming service, early fight times are good. You know, no one wants to stay up till like 1, 2, 3 in the morning to watch for like commercials and then some fights. So yeah, it was a great night of fights. A lot of fun. Thank you guys for joining me. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, follow me on Twitter at Shant Yeretzian. I always do live tweets during the fights. Every week I do an episode of MMA at midnight, and the big events or anything exciting, you know I'm going to be doing a post-fight special talking about it. So stay tuned for any of those, and thank you guys. Bye.